Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome to my YouTube channel. Happy Pride Month. I'm your host, Faven. I use she, they, pronouns, and I am so excited for today's video. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I really do appreciate you. And let's begin today's video. Today's video is going to be about being both asexual and aromantic, otherwise known as AroAce. Now, in my previous videos, we talked about being both asexual and aromantic. I wanted the videos to be separate because some people are asexual but not aromantic, and some people are aromantic but not asexual. So I wanted to give them their own separate videos before talking about them together because I experienced both of them. And yeah, before we begin, I do want to plug my social medias. I have a TikTok where I post fun videos, an Instagram where I post fun pics, a Twitter where I post fun retweets. I also have a Goodreads where I post fun book reviews, and a Pinterest where I post fun boards. All linked in the description box down below. If you want to give me a follow, thank you in advance. And now let's begin today's video. So I have a bunch of questions that I have found on the internet to answer, just to help me have bullet points on what I want to discuss in this video. So there's 10 questions and I'm going to be trying to answer all of them. And I don't remember the questions because I did this a while ago. So if there is a question that I don't want to answer, I will just skip over it and it'll be just 9 or 8 questions. But hopefully they're all 10 of them. But let's get into it. So the question number 1 is, what does it mean to be AroAce? So what it means to be AroAce is that you both are romantic and asexual, meaning you lack romantic attraction in the spectrum, or you lack sexual attraction in within that spectrum. And so because I lack romantic attraction and sexual attraction, I am AroAce. Number 2, can you be insert sexuality and be AroAce? And the answer is yes. It's called being an oriented AroAce, meaning that while you lack romantic and sexual attraction, you do want to be in a relationship with a person, whether depending on if it's a queer platonic relationship or a different kind of emotional connection relationship. Depending on the other types of attraction, you have a gender or genders that you would prefer to be involved in those type of relationships with. That's what it means. So yeah. Have you ever experienced a phobia? So before we answer that question, I'm going to talk about what aphobia is. So aphobia is prejudice against asexual and aromantic people, according to ourspectrum.com. Now, I have such a tiny channel, tiny platform, that I have not experienced any aphobia as of now, but as my platform grows, it might. I hope it doesn't, but I've seen bigger creators receive a lot of hate for being AroAce, and I'm just, I'm not hoping for that, but expecting it because I don't know why people want to do that, but people do. And seeing like other creators like having to talk about it and on Twitter, and I'm really sad for them because their experiences are being like belittled and like ridiculed and all these other things, and I really feel for them. And hopefully one day, with spreading awareness like with this video and other videos like this, that ace and aro people are no longer seen as the invisible sexuality. And yeah, do you fit in any other letter of the acronym LGBTQIA+? And the answer is yes. I am non-binary, and I have a video that I already have uploaded, or I will upload, and I will link it in the cards if it's already up, and in the description box if it's not, whenever it does become available. So I'm not going to talk about it in this video. Do you believe aromantic has affected your life not as much, just as much as, or more than being asexual? Why? Now, I believe it has affected my life a little bit more, but also like only in the sense of like because of like growing up where like romance and being in a romantic relationship is very prevalent, and wanting to like experience it, kind of hid that factor, like hid that I was aromantic, because I just wanted what I was seeing on TV and in movies. But then finding out that I was aromantic, and then the fear of not experiencing a romantic relationship or any like emotional bond to that like level, kind of made me a little sad at the beginning. But it was just like, and then like really when I first found out about being asexual, and aromantic kind of like often follows behind with it, and it's like that one does not apply to me because I have the desire to be in a romantic relationship, so that one doesn't really apply to me. But then a year later, I learned that the different micro labels of being aromantic also coincide with being asexual, like the different micro labels. So learning about cupiromantic, meaning not feeling romantic attraction but desiring a romantic relationship, kind of first opened the door of the possibility of me being aromantic, and really kind of like made me like sit down and think about the times that I experienced romantic attraction, and if it actually was romantic attraction or was it just aesthetic attraction, because you kind of grow up, and I don't know if it's just like me who didn't like get all the pieces, like finding someone to be physically attractive, and that means you liked them and wanted to date them and stuff like that. And then I really think about it, and I really didn't want to. I just thought they were attractive, and so that kind of affected like not even knowing what it was. And yeah, I don't even know if I explained that right, but that's kind of how I experienced it. Not even knowing what it was affected me more than being asexual, because it's like being asexual is just like growing up in a religious household and like having to wait till marriage to engage in sexual activity. I was like, yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm cool with that. I'm totally okay with waiting. But being but romantic, just like wanting to get to that point before even all that happens. And so that's where it kind of affected me more, like not even knowing that I was aromantic than asexual. I don't know, I'm terrible at explaining it, but that's kind of how I feel about that. Do you ever wish you were an AroAce? Kind of. Sometimes. Not really the asexual part, because that one is just like I've never, but like again, like when I first found out that I was aromantic, or like found out the term, I was like, I can't possibly be that one because of like all the romance books I read, and now that's like my favorite thing. And like after reading it, some of the books, I would get really sad because I didn't experience what they experience in the books, and wanting that. So like, and wanting to have that connection and stuff like that, and really being aro just kind of felt like I wasn't going to experience that at first. So when I first found out, I was like, ugh, really? But now it's just like, yeah, it's just who I am. At this point, I don't even know if I really want to be in a romantic relationship. I just know that just like as a kid, I just knew I didn't want to die alone. I just didn't want to be alone. That's kind of how that's what I first thought. I think it was like the movie was like Superman Returns, like the newest, not the newest, but like the early 2000s Superman movie, and how the old lady Lex Luthor like gets all her stuff, and she just like, the way I interpret it, because I don't think looking back at watching it again, I really knew what was going on, but like I thought that she had died alone, and I didn't want that because I was really sad for her. And I was like, I don't want that. That's not what I want. I want it because like with the dogs, there was 2 of them, and by the time Lex Luthor comes in, there's only 1 of them left. And I was like, oh my god, I don't want that. I don't want that for me. And so that's kind of like but covered up all the aromantic behavior. It covered it all up. Would you ever get married to a friend or a QPP or a queer platonic partner or a what's the other one? Just platonic partner. I would be open to it. Again, like the whole like I think that's like the thing that I wanted. Really just like a person that I am like comfortable with and having a bond with, and wanting all of those things seems more prevalent than all that other stuff. Like I would consider it. It just I haven't been in one and all that other stuff. But I would consider it. Yes, I would definitely consider it. Would you ever raise children? I go back and forth between this because as a child, I knew that I wanted like a family, and that's probably because like of like the bonds I have with my sisters and stuff. Wanting to have like that. Also like growing up and like everybody's like expected to have like get a career, meet someone, get married, and have kids kind of thing. I was kind of falling into that like kind of like step system. But I knew that I didn't want to like birth children. So I was just like, no, that doesn't feel like it's for me. And at 10 years old, I saw like Arthur, and like they adopted, like Binky's like family adopted a child, and I was like, I can adopt a child. I don't have to like birth children. So at that age, I was like, yeah, that's the path for me. I don't know where my path is now, being as though I've helped raise kids. I know I wouldn't want to do it alone. So I would have to be in a committed relationship, whether romantic or platonic, doesn't really matter. But being in a committed relationship with a person, because I don't want to raise a kid alone. It's not for me, and I would rather just have my pets and call it a day, if that would be the case. Do you enjoy romantic content? Yes, I love watching like movies and like TV shows. I do enjoy watching. I like reading it more than watching it. But I do like watching it, like watching I don't remember the name, like romantic comedies. I don't like reading romantic comedies really, but watching them on TV, I do like watching them. Yeah. This is like my romance wall where I have a bunch of couples from like media that I like, and so yeah, I like romance. So it was like that's why it felt like something was wrong. Like, why am I not experiencing romance? Like that's why I didn't first like register like I could be Aro, because I love romance. So it's like I didn't get it, and so I was like, this doesn't what. But now it's like, yeah, I've been identifying as Aro for 2 years, and so it's just like, yeah, this is just me. It makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense being made. And the last question we have: do you think there is anything wrong with how romance is portrayed in media or how people see romance? Yes, I do think so, because of like how people like say this is like the ultimate level of like when you like reach all the levels, like you get it, like you go to graduate high school, you go to college, and then you start your like career, and then you meet someone, get married, and have kids, and then you continue the cycle. And if you don't experience romantic attraction, you feel like you're failing in part of the steps of life. Oh man. And so the fact that if you are in a romantic relationship, you hold like a higher status versus person that was just like a person who's just like single and not Aro. They're like, one day you'll like meet someone and you're like really happy and stuff, and a person who loves being single and doesn't want to be in a romantic relationship, just wants to live their life, and how they hold them at different levels. And I feel like that's a problem, and that's kind of why I want to talk about like this and talk about make content for being aro, because it's like, if you are in a romantic relationship, you feel alienated because you're not in a romantic relationship. Or like there's couples night, but you're not a part of a couple, you're just a person by yourself, and they're like, oh well, you can't come to couples night because you have to have a couple, you have to be in a relationship to be a part of it. Or you're just like that fifth wheel because you're not a part of it. And yeah, let me read the question again. Anyone portrayed in media? Yeah, they kind of like, they romanticize romantic relationships. And also, like, I've seen like when they getting into a romantic relationship, they kind of make it seem all like it's love at first sight, and you want to have this all instant connection with the person, and you're never gonna like have all these like problems and stuff like that. But then you also see when once they get married and years down the line, and how the like partners aren't really as in love or as they were when they first started out. Like I remember, like I watch Flintstones right now. I'm like doing like rewatching episodes and stuff, and the way their romantic relationship is just kind of like once you get married, everything falls down the toilet. Everything sucks. And so they're showing you like you need to be in a relationship, like getting to that point. But once you hit that point, you kind of like level out. Like you reach that point, you're married, and then you just kind of like slowly descend, because, or like once you reach that level, it's downhill from there, because there's no way up from there. Or like down, and then you have a kid and goes up a little bit, but goes back down once the kid gets older. And it's like kind of like you need to be in this because that's the next level, but then shows you how bad that level is. And so it's very confusing. I don't really get it, but they portray it in two ways. Either it's the best thing ever, or it's the worst thing ever. And there's never like, there's highs and there's lows. There's never like one there is like an actual how relationships actually work. They kind of like either make it super romantic, it's like watch these two people fall in love and they get married, credits. Or you see them like when they're married and everything just sucks, like they're miserable the entire time. And I think that is a big problem, and we need to like, I don't know how to fix it. I'm just like, I don't know how to fix it, but that definitely is what I noticed in in these like stories and stuff. That's all my thoughts on being both AroAce. If you have any more questions for me, you can comment them down below, and I can make a part 2 or answer them in the comments. And yeah, until next. Wait a second. So like forgetting everything. But that is all for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up if you like, subscribe if you want to, hit the bell notifications to be notified when I upload. I try to upload twice a week. My social medias are all linked in the description box down below if you want to give me a follow. And until next time, drink some water, eat a snack, play with the enjoy the rest of Pride Month. Peace.